Wah, 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 wah. Hello. Wah, 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 wah. Hello. Oh shit. I almost didn't get first. All right, let's tell the internets that we're live. What's up? What's up, Tara? What's up, Nicola? Once again, we're live streaming on a Monday. Hold on a second. Let me just send out these alerts. Can you start with the random questions? You certainly can. It's kind of how these streams go. Can I be seen and heard well? Is the stream working? It's Monday. Once again, I've been doing a pretty bad job of keeping the live stream Sunday on Sunday, but this wasn't my own fault. Just like things come up. That's all right. So it's like 1:18 p.m. here in Birmingham, Alabama. It's pretty gloomy like it always is here, but it's not as bad. It's not currently wet out, but it looks like it's gonna rain. Like, you know, there's clouds covering everything. So, you know, basically par for the course. If you if you follow the stream, it's basically like always raining here. How would I rate my knowledge of philosophy? I don't know, I studied philosophy in college a little bit, but I don't know. I don't have any sort of textbook knowledge, or at least I don't have a lot of textbook knowledge, but I don't know, it's just sort of random what I know. I think I have a pretty good capability of understanding a lot of the philosophical theory and arguments and stuff, but I couldn't just like rattle off like just like names of philosophies and arguments and stuff. Oh yeah, I set up this new alert system. Thank you for subscribing. So it'll pop up whenever somebody subscribes or donates or super chats. It's pretty cool. And if I ever get to unlock sponsors on my channel, it's like in beta right now. But if I ever get that, then that'll pop up too. So it's pretty cool. New follower, I subscribe because I like your hair. Awesome. I used to say that at the end of all of my videos, and I think a lot of people sort of miss it. But I feel like as a trade-off, I put it in my channel trailer. What's my favorite breakfast, if I like it at all? I love breakfast. I don't know what my favorite is. I love eggs. Like, I'm a huge fan of eggs. I eat eggs all the time. I ate eggs today for breakfast, actually. But as for like what else, you know, it just kind of depends. Like I like eggs and bacon, like the classic. But then you can, but you know, I like omelets a lot. But something with eggs for sure. How did I feel about the car in space? I thought it was cool. When I record videos, do I save bloopers? Not usually. I said that I was gonna do that, but then I just don't. I always forget to. Cause you know when I'm editing videos, I'm just usually deleting stuff as I go. So like going back and getting the bloopers is like extra work, and I don't usually want to do it. But and usually the bloopers are not that interesting. Like if something like really funny happens, then I'll probably save it, and I've done that a couple times. Have I ever thought of going vegan? Not really. I mean, I've considered it, but I don't want to. When I tried recording my voice reading essay, and the number of bloopers was constant. Yeah, I think it's something you get better at over time, but also it just kind of depends on your mind state and your preparation. Like there's been times where, like a lot of times when I film a video, when I'm like making a video, I can like get it done pretty quick without too many mess ups. But then sometimes, like for example, if I just like get up, you know, barely awake first thing in the morning, trying to do a video, I'll just mess up over and over again. And also like it actually helps to do like warm up, either warm up just by reading the script before you record, or just warm up by your voice, like the way that singers and people who give speeches and public speakers and stuff do. It actually helps. Like it seems pretty like corny to just sort of be like doing vocal exercises and stuff, but it just makes the process a lot easier. It helps you enunciate stuff without messing up. Yeah, well, I feel like a lot of people oppose the car and space thing because it's sort of like a very capitalism symbolism basically. But I don't necessarily have a problem with that. So, by the way, if you don't know, I have coffee mugs, T1J coffee mugs. It has T1J logo and then my face on the other side. You should get one. I definitely drink, and I don't. I will. I haven't smoked weed in a long time. I will answer the question that way. A very long time. I don't really um necessarily not smoke weed, but I just haven't in a long time, and it's not something that I care that much about. Are you a fan of buffalo wings? Yes. Although I like I like lemon pepper wings better than buffalo wings, but I'll eat buffalo wings for sure. You can get the mug at theonejanitor.com/store. Brady Heron said recently his fear was Coca-Cola sending a giant advertisement into space. Yeah, I guess. I guess I just don't have a problem with that. That's like part of what's cool about sort of this competition-based system. Like, yeah, it's designed to sell stuff, but if it like advances technology, that's good for everybody. I'm from England. I thought buffalo wings were made of actual buffalo. Well, I mean, I feel like that's it's kind of silly like when we think about it, but it's not really that far-fetched of an idea. Just considering all of the other stuff that we do. Do I watch the Philip DeFranco show? Yes. I've sort of missed the last few episodes, but I I generally try to keep up with it. Capitalism probably isn't necessary for the advancement of technology, though. I don't I don't know if I agree with that, but I do agree that the advancement of technology isn't necessary for a successful society. But I don't know how it's possible for technology to advance at near the same rate under any other system. And I don't mean to imply that technology advancement is like the number one thing that we should be worried about, but I'm just saying. Who are my favorite comedians? Um, I don't know. There's like so many good comedians these days. It's hard to even pick a favorite. I like Hannibal Buress. I like Kumail Nanjiani. Do I like Dave Chappelle? Yeah, I think Dave Chappelle is like one of the greatest comedians ever, but I feel like Dave Chappelle's comedy right now is just sort of, it's just like past its prime. But Dave Chappelle overall, I think, is one of the most significant and important comedians, at least in my lifetime, in my generation. But his current stand up, I feel like, is just, it's not, it's out of date. It's outdated. Hello, Matel. I don't know if I said that right. I'm sure there were several reasons that the Russians and US were competing to get to the moon. Yeah, I like the latest set on Netflix, but it definitely didn't like inspire and like just crack me up to the same extent as some of the other ones, like killing them softly. And there was some parts of it that, like, I mean, I get what he's doing, um but there is definitely some cringy parts to it. Do you enjoy live streaming because it sounds terrifying? Yeah, it's like one of my favorite things to do, to be honest. I wish I could just do this. I wanted to try to figure out like a way to, because live streaming is big now in gaming, but I wanted to try to figure out a way to engage people in that same way, except just with, not gaming. But I don't know. Some people do it though. What's was your take on the Aziz Ansari situation? Um, I don't know. It's a complex thing. I wrote like someone asked me this on Ask FM, and I wrote a thing about it. It was sort of like a couple paragraphs about it. But basically, I think everybody needs to do better. Like, and I assume you're talking about the sexual misconduct thing. Um, but here's the thing: like, I think it's possible. Um, I think it's hard for me to imagine that someone was that uncomfortable and 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 he didn't notice. Like, that just seems really weird to me. So that leads me to believe that there's like he's got issues like with, you know empathy and taking care of people when you're in an intimate situation, or he was like under the influence of some kind of alcohol or something. um and I know from experience that alcohol fucks up your perceptions of what is and isn't acceptable, which, is obvious. um so that's, I feel like that's fucked up. Like, you need to do better. Like, if someone is that uncomfortable and you don't know, you can't tell, you're fucking up. Like, there's something wrong with you. There's something wrong with that situation. But at the same time, uh, you know there's a level of how, when do women, what's the word I'm trying to think of, like, I get it's hard to talk about it without sort of people making assumptions about what I mean, but I understand that there's like pressure and there's fear and you don't know what's going to happen or what kind of retaliation you're going to get. But like, for example, like if you don't want to give somebody a blowjob, then don't give them a blowjob. Like there's a level of self-agency that I think women and everybody just needs to, like, we have to be assertive in our lives. We can't go through life cowering in fear every time we're in a stressful or a scary situation. It's just not a way to be. It's just not a way to live life, you know. And I understand, you know, sometimes there's a fear of violent retaliation and stuff like that. To me, this didn't seem like that kind of situation. Maybe it did to her, but still, like, everybody needs to do better. I am drinking coffee, by the way. Am I monetized on my Twitch streams? I'm not a Twitch affiliate or a Twitch partner yet, but I can get like donations and stuff. But my Twitch, my audience, I don't really have much of a crossover on Twitch in terms of audience. So, my Twitch streams aren't that active really. I'll have maybe like 4 or 5 viewers at a time, which is cool actually, but it's hard to get to Twitch partner when you have that many viewers. I drink my coffee black. I'm from the South originally. I was born in Germany and then I lived in Maryland until I was like 6 or 7 years old. And then from then on, that's when I moved to Alabama. And I've been in Alabama since then. So I consider myself as being from Alabama. Where do I want to travel in the world? Everywhere. Pretty much everywhere. Coffee and lemon juice are bad for your teeth. Yeah, but I mean, if you have good dental hygiene and you're not drinking like 8 cups of coffee every day, you should be fine. Do I qualify for German citizenship? No, because I was born abroad as an American on an American army base. So I was considered a born abroad American. What's up, clown shoes? Whatever goes someplace that's dangerous. It depends on how dangerous it is. Like, would I go to the Middle East in the middle of a war zone? Probably not. Well, definitely not. No, probably about it. Do you think Joe Rogan is the king of podcast? Well, doesn't he have the most popular podcast of all time? Does he have the best podcast? Probably not. But his podcast is fine. I think it's pretty good. Well, yeah, that's the tactics. That's the tactic of the Russian bots and the Russian like propagandists. They create profiles on both sides. They create left-wing bots and left-wing profiles and left-wing and also right-wing ones. because the whole point is just to cause chaos. They're not trying to spread any like particular message. They just want to cause chaos and discord. Did I watch Alex Baldwin on SNL? Nope. What is a podcast I would recommend? I honestly don't watch. I don't listen to that many podcasts. I really like my brother and me. I think that's what it's called. That shit is hilarious. Like that shit has me fucking dying every time I listen to it. I like Talk Nerdy podcast with Cara Santa Maria. I like Dear Hank and John. What else? I feel like there's some other ones. Yeah, that's the thing about, but that's the issue. But that's the thing about these left wing bots. To anyone that's like truly a progressive, it's like obvious that it's fake because nobody acts like that. But to people on the right who are so like deep into the propaganda, they think that that's how people are, and so they just fall for it. But it works the same way on the other side too. I think that right-wing extremism is more common than left-wing extremism. But sometimes there's like these really absurd caricatures of conservatives that left-wingers fall for. Or sometimes like it's like for example, there's a Twitter account that's something like conservative teams or GOP teens or something, and it's a satire account. But people think it's real. Like progressives, unwitting progressives and left-wing people think it's real. Is there any right-wing argument that you agree? I'm not sure. I don't know what exactly is considered right-wing. Probably no right-wing social positions. There are probably no right-wing social positions that I agree with. But like, for example, is it, advocacy of private property, is that a right-wing idea? Because I agree with that. What direction do you think the gun control debate is going to go? Well, the thing about that is the NRA and other lobby groups basically have control of our Congress. So it's not like, it doesn't really matter what happens in the debate. The only thing that is a source of hope in that sense for me is voting. People are just gonna have to vote because there really is no debate. I mean, there's like kind of a debate there, but there really isn't that much of a debate. Something like, I think 60% of people think that there should be more gun control. Fucking only like 3% of gun owners are in the NRA or something like that. Like, we kind of already have decided as a country what we need to do. But the problem is our lawmakers are so deep in the pockets of the NRA that they just won't do it in spite of the will of their constituents. So really the only solution is just to vote for better people. But that's also hard because Republicans have found many ways to, cheat basically in elections, such as gerrymandering and disenfranchisement of voters and voter ID laws and all kinds of stuff like that. So it's going to be rough, but it's possible for us to do something. What's my favorite fruit? Pears. Fucking love pears. I also like pineapples a lot, dude. I haven't had pineapple in a long time, but I bought a pineapple the other day and I was like, man, this is fucking delicious. I forgot how good these are. There's I sent out a tweet like about a month ago that was asking my international audience. I was asking people, how do they treat black people in your country? And most people basically acknowledged that there was a little bit of racism there. You know, obviously some is better than others, but black people have it rough everywhere, I guess. What YouTuber channel do you feel doesn't get enough love? I couldn't possibly name all of them, but off the top of my head, the Newsbroke channel. Well, they get a lot of love on Facebook, so I don't know. But their YouTube channel is criminally undersubscribed. Captain Disillusion, An Actual Joke. Neon Fiona. I don't know. Those are the main ones that popped into my head. Oh, Draftsman, what's up, man? Would you want America to have complete strictness on guns, like all firearms illegal? Yeah, but that's never gonna happen. So it's sort of impractical to argue for. Would I ever go to Russia? I'd probably visit Russia. It's interesting because you would think that a country with more diversity would be less racist, or at least I would think that, but it does not seem to be the case anywhere in the world, actually. Waffle or pancake? Definitely waffle. Pancakes are trash. Do you think Trump legitimately aims to be president for life? What do you think would happen if he resisted the peaceful transfer of power to the next elected president? I don't know how to predict anything when it comes to Trump anymore, honestly. But I think that Trump would love to be president for life, cuz he appears to be a pretty narcissistic, power-hungry person. What about French toast? French toast is decent. You know, in terms of the tier list, it's like waffles and then French toast and then pancakes at the bottom. Although I think French toast, if it's made well, that it can be really, really good. It can be top tier. What's up, Zach? You visited Birmingham about 15 years ago. How was it? Well, it's interesting because, I mean, a lot of it is just a cultural thing. Because the reason that America, or at least I would say one of the primary reasons that America has so much issues with racism, is not specifically because it's diverse, but it's specifically because this country was built on the foundation of racism. It was built on the backs of slavery and segregation. Like that literally defined this country for like 90% of its entire existence. And so, you know, those attitudes don't just go away overnight. But so, you know, other countries may not have that same history, or they may have a history like that, but there's just been enough time for them to modernize. Yeah, Birmingham. I don't know why. It seems kind of random that we have a city in Alabama that's, ostensibly named after Birmingham, or Birmingham. I don't know how you say it. Well, yeah, not even to mention the Native Americans. Do I think Melania loves Trump? I have no idea, man. I'm not even gonna try to guess that. Cause like sometimes, well, I can think of sort of like micro examples, like within this society. Like sometimes it'll be like a group that, like, for example, like I like to go to bars and stuff. Like I hang out. I'm a pretty social person. And the main bar that I used to go to was like frequented by like 90% white people. Like it was mostly white people. And the few black people that went there were always sort of accepted, you know, treated super nicely. Like there was no like animosity, like why the fuck are you here? Um, but there are other bars, across town that were like that, where if a black dude showed up or a black woman or a black couple showed up, they'd get the side eye. It's like, why are you here? So I think it kind of depends on the culture of the area that you're in. What's up, Zoe? Are you talking about me? Well, Birmingham has come up a lot in 15 years, for sure. We've had sort of like a little bit of I don't know if renaissance is the right word, but we're making a strong push to be, a more pleasant and aesthetic city. A lot of new like cool venues have opened. We've opened like a baseball stadium. They've tried to clean up a lot of areas, so they're definitely like we've definitely come up for sure. Have I ever seen the reverse situation? That is what it's like in predominantly black bars, clubs. Um, I don't know. Not necessarily to the same extent. I mean, that probably exists in some cases, but I don't think I've ever seen people just like give side eye to white people. You know, I think that it's definitely acknowledged that the person is different. Like, people aren't shy about that. It's like, hey, look at that white boy. But it's never like animosity, at least in my experience. But I mean, I'm sure that exists in certain situations, and it could also depend on the way that the person is acting. Like if the person is acting like whack, then they might get treated a certain way. Zoe, thank you for the super chat. What is that, €2? That's what that symbol means, right? Or am I getting it mixed up? I always get them mixed up. I'm talking about you. Thank you very much. See how it popped up on the stream? I actually did not get to see Get Out, but they're doing like a special showing of it here, and I think I'm gonna go see it. I mentioned Borderlands 2 a while back. You got a favorite class to play? I played a little bit of Borderlands 2. I feel like I didn't really play it enough. I don't even remember the classes, to be honest. I just played it sort of with friends. I would go over to my friend's house and play it, and it was fun. But I didn't get like super into it. I have not seen Coco. I want to see it though. It looks cool, and the way people like I was listening to an interview with the creators of it, and that made me really want to go see it. And then I've heard like the song from it, "Remember Me," and the song is super tight. So that makes me want to see it too. What is my favorite pasta? I don't know. I feel like all pasta is pretty similar, right? I usually get the rotini. Can I link the interview? It was on NPR. I was listening to it on the radio. I'm sure it's on the internet, but like I don't know the exact I can see if I can find it. But or you can just Google sort of NPR. Was it on Fresh Air? Yeah, just Google NPR Coco interview. It'll come up. It was on Fresh Air. It'll be, well, at least it was the first result for me. Thoughts on esports? I'm a huge fan of esports. I think it's awesome. If I was younger, I would probably try to compete in esports. Technically, I did compete in esports. I played Smash Brothers competitively for a while, but that was sort of before the esports explosion. What do I think of keto low carb diets? I think they're fine. I'm in favor of low carb diets. I actually kind of have a low carb diet. It's not a like a keto diet, but I limit my carbs because that is the easiest way for me to limit my calorie consumption without actually having to count every single calorie, which I don't feel like doing. And also I don't really I like that diet because I'm not that big of a fan of carbs. I don't particularly care about pasta or rice or things like that too much. I do like bread a lot. So it's kind of hard to give up bread, but you know, I'm perfectly happy